moments and tough games, more specifically on Christmas. The Las Vegas Raiders beating the reigning champs 20-14 and putting a roadblock for at least another week in the Kansas City Chiefs' chances to clinch an 8th straight AFC West championship. Now, Patrick Mahomes still sees a path for the Chiefs to achieve the heights they've been able to reach in recent seasons, so take a listen.
I think it's more than anything, it's just consistency. I think I've said it, but it's just, you see drives where we drive it right down the field, score, and we're doing everything the right way, and then you see drives where we kind of hurt ourselves. You see drives where we stall out quick. It's just we got to clean it up. We're 2 games left. You have to do it, and if we don't, we'll be going home. So I think if we clean it up, if we clean it up, we can beat anybody. I truly believe that, but we got to prove that we can do it.
Words, got to prove quite a bit. Yeah. All right, Shannon, what's more likely at this point? KC one and done or Super Bowl run?
One and done. They just don't have the firepower. They don't have the and he talked about the consistency. It's easy to say that, bro. We in week 16, and you still talking about consistency. At some point, maybe I'll give you that in week 4, week 5, week 8, bro. We 2 weeks from the end of the season, and we're talking about consistency. They went 3 and out their first 2 drives. They didn't get a first down without a penalty until their 4th possession. And we see the turnovers. Mahomes, and he hasn't played well by his standards, and he's starting to take unnecessary risks with the football, which further puts them in harm's way. And they're trying to do all this razzle-dazzle. Sometimes the Chiefs get too cute for themselves. You already look good. Why do you need to add all this makeup? Because you're trying to hide flaws that you know you have, but other people that you don't think other people can see. They can see your offensive line isn't very good. They can see your receiving core isn't very good. And Saturday early on, I tried to explain this to you, that you can't keep trying to out-scheme people to get your wide receivers open. At some point in time, it's like an offensive line. You just got to put a hat on a hat and move somebody off the ball. And right now, they don't have a wide receiver that you can just say, you know what, guys, I need you to go beat man coverage. And they cannot do that. You see the pick 6, the guy's not even. Here's the situation. Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. You know he can throw your ball over your head. But DBs aren't getting out of their back pedal because they know the guys are not going to run by them because they don't have the confidence in them to do so. So they're sitting on everything. And then Justin Watson exacerbated the situation by falling away from the ball. Now, granted, Patrick Mahomes didn't get a lot on that throw because he's having to throw off his back foot. But the mere fact that a DB is not getting out his back pedal, and that's Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, is troubling. The defense is playing outstanding, except the last drive when the Raiders ran the air out of the football and didn't let them get them back. You know they're not going to throw it because O'Connell only had like 60 yards passing. You know they're going to run the football. Yeah. And that's what I said. The mark of any great offense or defense, can you get done what you need to get done when you absolutely have to? Where the Kansas City Chiefs needed to get a stop and give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, and let's see if he could work a miracle one more time. And they couldn't. The offensive line play has been porous all year. The receiver play has been porous all year. And then it's compounded by Patrick Mahomes not being the Patrick Mahomes that we're used to seeing. You get a recipe for one and done.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to say it this way. There's part of me that agrees with Shem, but I'm going to disagree because I don't see, besides the Ravens, I don't see anybody in the AFC just take this thing over, right? Like, you got the Ravens who's going to get the bye week. So can the Chiefs beat any of the other AFC teams? I think they can. Now, do they have to clean up a lot of stuff? They do. I do think their defense is good enough. I think here's the situation for the defense for me. The first down play that they got 6 yards, that was the knife to them, right? Because now it's 2nd and 4. You're using your timeouts, and we all know when defenses play tight to the line of scrimmage, if you get to the line of scrimmage, you might take that thing to the house, right? So It worked out that he runs a 40-yarder, gets tackled, they end up winning the game. That's what it is. But their defense gives me a lot of hope for this reason. If the offense, and here's the thing, you and I both played on very explosive offenses, right? We were the top offense in the league. I was there for 14 years. You were there forever in the Hall of Fame because of how good your offenses were when you played there. They have to redefine what excellence is to them. Sometimes punting is the best measure for that offense because of their defense. Had Mahomes not turned the ball over for 2 touchdowns, you said it. O'Connell doesn't throw a completion since the first quarter. Like, you're going to win that game. But you played into the only way the Raiders could beat you. And my concern for that is Andy Reid and Nagy saw how frustrated the entire offense was. And this started from play 1. This wasn't just Mahomes. The first handoff was sloppy. Nobody looked like they were into the game. The offensive line, to your point's getting run through. All of a sudden, he's under pressure. You saw him. It looked like Mahomes was hurting. Coming to the sideline, everybody screaming at each other. Nobody just was like, hey, pump the brakes. Our defense is good enough. All we got to do, get to 17 points, man. Get to 17 points. We're going to put this thing away. Whatever you got to say on the sideline, I think that's the part that, for me, that was as frustrating to watch that game, is I felt the pressure for them. We just talked about it with Brock Purdy. When the moment happened, you felt like the pressure for their entire offense just imploded. And they were like, Kelsey slamming his helmet down. Reed's giving him a little check of, hey, let's get this thing together, keep this thing on the rails. Mahomes is yelling at his offensive line. Everything just seemed like it was hard to do anything correctly. I'm not taking away from the Raiders. They played lights out. AP has those dudes rolling. I loved what they did. They're playing. Like you said, they took chances and scored because of it. But this team, if they do clean it up because of Patrick Mahomes, they can win some games in the playoffs and they can make a run. Because when you have the best quarterback for this generation so far that we've seen, who's been to how many Super Bowls, he understands how to win. But man, they got these self-inflicted wounds. They got to let them go.
But the thing is, Saturday, is that the receiving core, they can't get open.
I agree.
They just can't.
I agree.
I mean, you watched the third and the fourth quarter. I don't believe there was more than a couple of snaps in which Patrick Mahomes dropped back and threw the ball on timing.
Right.
If he did, it was a flat route or it was a screen.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's having to pirouette. He's having to go left. He's having to go right. He's running for his life because they can't get open. And one of the mistakes that he made. Go ahead, Sarge.
Let me ask you this, because I said this earlier this morning on Get Up. I feel like they miss Eric Bieniemy, and not just because of play. Cause I know Andy Reid knows offense. I'm not trying, but I think that the accountability that he held guys to, and the way people ran routes and executed their offense, it was clean, man. It was sharp. It was dialed in, and I think. When you think about the receivers and whether it's, people are like, well, they missed Tyreek Hill. Yeah, everybody would. Tyreek Hill's making any roster better. But not everybody's got Tyreek Hill, right? So the ones that you do have, though, if they're running the right routes, to your point, and finding ways to get open on time, I felt like that's what Bieniemy kind of brought to them, man. And I think that's been a massive loss for this team. And I'm not trying to take shots at Nagy and Andy Reid. I just feel like that because you would see, even Mahomes when he walked that sideline, dude, sometimes he'd be like, hey, man, this is on you. You know what I mean? Or he's pointing or he's shouting. He got guys dialed in to play that way.
Yeah, he was definitely the accountability officer. And nobody was exempt, whether you was the best player on offense or the worst player on offense. And even Travis Kelce has all of a sudden gotten bit by the drop bug. He dropped the play early in the ball game. He's trying to catch it with one hand, and all he has to do is put both hands up, catch it, and turn up the sideline, and he's probably going to get a first down. But I think the biggest thing is that, and people say they missed Tyreek, they won the Super Bowl last year without Tyreek. Patrick Mahomes was a Super Bowl MVP without Tyreek. He was also league MVP without Tyreek. But what happened, they didn't have the expectations that they had this year because everybody said they're going to take a step back because they don't have Tyreek. So people were willing to give them an excuse if they didn't succeed because they lost Tyreek. Okay, you go win the Super Bowl without Tyreek. What are the expectations? You say, well, Sky Moore has another year up on his belt. Kadarius Toney has another year in this offense. MBS has another year in this offense. And what has happened, those guys have regressed. They haven't gotten better. They've regressed. The offensive line isn't as good as it was last year. Patrick Mahomes is not playing to the standard in which we've seen them play. So when you have receivers regressing, offensive line is poor, Patrick Mahomes is not playing to the level that we're used to seeing, this is what you get. A team that has 7 games in which they've scored less than 20 points, and Patrick Mahomes has 6 of those in his first 5 years. There you go. That's the recipe.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I think, that stat to me is mind-blowing. 7 games in one season. he had 6 in 5 years. That just shows you it ain't clicking. Like whatever's happening in practice, whatever's happening when they take this thing to the field. And again, I think that's where the pressure mounts. Man, I don't think I've ever seen Patrick Mahomes as frustrated as I saw him. It was like every time he got up off the ground, whether it was because he was in the backfield getting hit or even when he extended plays with his legs and would get down, you saw him get up and he was talking, right? Like frustrated, like looking at a receiver or looking at the line or looking at somebody going, you know what I mean? Like he was trying to motivate and get guys to do the right thing as opposed to just allowing the game to come to them. And again, I think they're forcing or they're pushing and trying, and they ain't meeting the standard they've been.
But you can't let teams get points on your possessions. It's one thing, okay, to get them a short field, but you can't let them get pick sixes and scooping scores on your possession. And in years past, they were good enough offensively to overcome some of these miscues. Right. They're not there now Saturday, and so they can't overcome this bad play.
Yeah.
No, and you talk about accountability. The Chiefs led the NFL in dropped passes and offensive penalties entering Week 16 and were among the league leaders in turnovers. That is definitely not having accountability, especially now with a 42% chance to make the conference champs. Now, Jeff, you say one and done. What would that even mean for the Chiefs as far as the hopes early in the season to now?
Oh, it'd be devastating. I mean, listen, you're talking about the best quarterback, on the planet for however many years. You're one and done. It's a wasted opportunity. You only get so many years with these guys. And again, it looked to me like he was banged up. Like as he was getting off the ground, he looked sore or whatever. Ankle, I don't know what it is. Who knows? I don't care. But whatever it is, it looked like he was labored in his physicality. That is not what you cannot have that with this guy. And to Shannon's point, I thought yesterday from the Raiders front, they got after him. And I mean like quick swims, right? Like Crosby, quick swim 2 or 3 times. He's on a beeline to hit that quarterback, man. Like that is, I don't care if I'm tackling the defensive end. That dude ain't gonna go hit my quarterback like that. Like at some point, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, bro. You grab that dude, you do not let him touch your quarterback because he's taking too many shots unnecessarily. And again, there's times because of the receivers not separating, he's going to pull the ball down and have to extend plays. He's going to take shots because that's what it is. But man, you can't have those quick misses and quick loss that they're having right now. It looked bad from that perspective, and I think that frustrated him as well.
Think about it, Saturday. We're having a conversation. What's more likely, one and done, or they make a deep run? We never had this discussion before.
Never.
Are they going to the Super Bowl? That was discussion. Never one and done, never entered the equation.
That's
they
right.
played, and since he's become the starter, they played in every AFC championship game, and they advanced to 3 Super Bowls, and they won 2. For us to even be having this discussion lets you know how far the Chiefs this year have fallen. Defensively, they're good enough. Offensively, it's not even close. And even the great and Patrick Mahomes would have to go to a level that we haven't seen this year. Now, we know what he's capable of because we watched him over the last 5 years. But this year, I've seen nothing that can make me think that he can get this team, given the deficiencies that they have. It's not just one group. It's the offensive line. Yeah. They don't pass block particularly well. The wide receivers, they don't get open consistently. And if they do get open, there's a 50-50 chance they drop the football. Yeah. So with all these deficiencies that I see, Victoria, I just don't see how they go any further than one and done.
Hai cái ở hai bên và một cái ở giữa. Các bạn dàn keo vào đây. Các bạn dàn đúng chính giữa giúp mình nhé. Cắt bớt cái phần thừa đi. Rồi, đến này. Là cái phần bên này. Các bạn dàn keo vào đây. Rồi. Tiếp tục này. Đây, thì đây sẽ là cái phần vằn ở bên trên đầu của cái chú mèo này nha các bạn. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ đi vẽ cái phần mặt cho cái chú mèo này. Thì mình sẽ sử dụng cái bút bi đen nhé các bạn. Mình sẽ vẽ cái phần mắt này, cái phần mũi này và cái phần miệng nhé. Mình sẽ vẽ cái phần mắt như sau này. Hai cái mắt nó đang nhắm này. Rồi tiếp tục cái mắt bên này các bạn vẽ đối xứng sang, có thể vẽ thêm một số cái lông mày ở bên dưới này. Đây là cái mắt nó đang nhắm nhé các bạn. Tiếp theo thì mình sẽ đi vẽ cái phần mũi nhé. Cái phần mũi thì mình sẽ vẽ thành cái hình giống như là cái hình tam giác như này, nhưng mà nó sẽ có những cái phần nó cạnh nó sẽ không nhọn, góc nó sẽ không nhọn và nó sẽ tròn như thế này. Đây sẽ là cái phần mũi này, và cái phần miệng ở bên dưới thì mình sẽ vẽ nó giống như là cái hình cái móc câu nhé. Mình sẽ vẽ ra như thế này, mũi này, miệng này. Rồi đây sẽ là cái phần gương mặt của cái chú mèo này. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ đi cắt tiếp cái phần màu hồng, thì mình sẽ cắt thành hai hình tròn làm cái phần má nhé. Đây, các bạn sẽ cắt hai hình tròn như này cho mình để làm cái phần hai cái má của cái chú mèo này. Các bạn dán keo vào đây. Rồi tiếp tục các bạn dán keo vào như thế này. Thì đây sẽ là cái phần má, đúng không? Hai cái má hồng của cái chú mèo này. Và bước cuối cùng là mình sẽ đi vẽ cái phần ria mép cho cái chú mèo này nhé. Thì các bạn cũng sẽ sử dụng cái bút màu đen này và các bạn sẽ vẽ cái phần ba cái ria mép cho mình. 1 này, 2 này, 3 này. Tiếp theo bên này mình cũng có 1 này, 2 này, 3. Rồi, đây. Như vậy là mình đã hướng dẫn xong các bạn làm một cái phong bì hình chú mèo rất là dễ thương như thế này rồi.